Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm making this little short video just to bring light to some things that's going on with our local union. My name is Nicole Williams. If you don't know, I'm a member of 241. And as you all may know, if you look at the union boards, there's some information up there. There's some really important information up there. The union call themselves putting it there to bash members, but it backfired on them because I'm gonna bring light to it. It's actually gonna benefit the members and open our eyes to what our union is really about. So on the union board, you should see a couple of notices. There's a lot of pages, there's a lot of reading, but it's some charges that it was actually an investigation. I know the executive board members in the office party said it's a charge that they lost, that I lost and they won, but that is quite not so. As a fact of a matter, it is a learning experience for all of us, and it can help us shed light on what the current administration is attempting to do. The current administration is putting these things up, election challenges up so they can start their election for next year. And also on top of that, they want a bylaw change. And we'll get into the bylaw change in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about the information on the board. There are two labor challenges to the election of 2019, 2020. And myself filed a challenge. I can't speak for anybody else, but I will speak on mine. And my challenge is just like everybody else's challenge. Well, our current administration, they think they're dictators. And when it comes to the election, they don't want to allow due process. And when we talk about due process, they think that the election of officers is a joke. It is really not. It is a real election, and it should be handled as such. But this current administration, they want to do what they want to do. So I don't believe ever this administration has been challenged like I've been challenging other members, been challenging before. So they're a little scared, so they're fine anyway. And so they call themselves putting these notices on the board. They put them in the monthly newsletter, but they never elaborate on it. And if they have, I don't know what they said, but I can guess what they say. Oh, look, Nicole's costing the union money with these charges. Well, if the union is not going to do what they're supposed to do, I encourage you guys to file challenges to elections. I will definitely file challenges to elections if they do something wrong. So the fact of the matter is the challenge did come back unfounded. But the great thing about it is that they offered what was challenged, and they offered what's supposed to happen, and they offered what the union said. So reading is very fundamental into these things. And so what I'm saying versus what they saying, you can actually go back and fact check it because it's in black and white. So just to shed a little light on the election, the things that I challenged in the election was the officers, one, campaigning on union time. So in our bylaws, in our Constitution, and the union will say you should have a copy of them or call, and they'll give you a copy of them or whatever. But I just think like it's 2024, almost 2025. They should have a website, which they do. And you should be able to go on the website and download any information to help you access any resources the union have. But not Local 241. Local 241 are dictators. They hide everything. They say if you want a contract book, let them know and they'll give you one. Most places of business have all this stuff online for their employees, members, or whatever to access it, but not 241. But I have the bylaws from the Chicago Transit Justice Coalition website, which I access a lot of things from. It's very helpful. Anything you need, you can get grievance forms, bylaws, contract, anything you want to know your rights. The Chicago Transit Justice Coalition really has set the bar high compared to our union when it comes to providing information and providing factual information versus the union. Everything our president says is something of his feelings or something he tried to get the members to believe. It's nothing ever factual, because if you ask him to provide it in black and white, he can never do that. So what I'm going to talk about is those notices on the board. The notice on the board is the challenges again. And with the challenges, I personally challenge the officers' conduct as campaigning on union time. Now, in our bylaws, it says that no officer, executive board member, or steward should be campaigning on union time. And that's between the hours of 8 and 4:30 per our bylaws. This is not nothing I'm making up or, just putting out there. During the campaign last year when they were running for election, they were saying, well, we taking vacation time or this, that, and another. But they were taking their people off of work, having them campaign for them. They were taking their favorites off work to have them campaign for them. The election commissioners was off work way more than they supposed to be. They were just, it was just a whole bunch of everything. But I like to shed light on that because in 2025, we will be having another election. And so that when they get to saying things about, myself or others who challenge them, you all can see. You all can see that these rules do apply to them, and you all can also tell them you're doing wrong, and you can challenge them too. So it's actually going to shed light. So one of the things was that the officers should not campaign on union time. And I'm going to tell you where in the bylaws it says that. Let's see. Let me look at it. Okay. Section 18 of the bylaws says current officers and stewards must not campaign for election during local union work hours. So that means that when you see officers, stewards, or executive board members between the hours 8 and 4:30 at the garages campaigning, passing out flyers, interacting with members, that's illegal. So that's when you can file a challenge to election if you want to run for a position, whether it be president, first vice, second vice, third vice, financial recording secretary, executive board, steward, whatever. Any current officer, they're not God, they're not above the law. This is just like any other election. They cannot. So when you see them out when they're supposed to be at work representing us, maybe negotiating a contract, another story, negotiating a contract or whatever, between 8 and 4:30, they should be representing this local and doing only union business. So when you see them at retirees' breakfasts, they shouldn't be doing that. When you see the pictures of them out shaking hands, talking about, I'm going to meet with the members, that's not allowed. That is illegal. And that is one of the things that I challenged in the past election. And you can see on the board, I'm not going to tell you anything. You can look on the board because they posted on every union board within the CTA, and you can see the findings. They are not to be campaigning. They told the U.S. Department of Labor that they were not campaigning during union hours. Hey, I say different. Some of you all were there. You will know if they was. You will know if you worked between 8 and 4:30 and you saw them there. So that's one of the things that they I challenged. Another thing, and I think this was big with members about voting when you get ready to vote and voting. It was a big thing. The election commissioners, the judges, they had signs up, vote in pencil. And most members like, no, I don't want to vote in pencil, I want to vote in pen. They made this big deal about, no, you got to vote in pencil. That's not true. You can vote in pencil or pen, but preferably because we don't have the most honest group of people, including the election commissioners, the executive board members. They're not the most honest. So if you want to vote in pen, it is your right to vote in pen. If they tell you can't vote in pen, you too can file a challenge because it says in our bylaws. Not only does the U.S. Department of Labor say it, our bylaws, for the ones we're supposed to be governed by, also states that you must vote. You can vote in pen. It says you should vote in pen. Also, something that was done, we challenged the way that the ballots was given out to the members. Each ballot should be handed to you by a judge, and you can look at it. It should have the judge's initials on it and everything. And once you vote, you are to give the ballot back to the clerk or the judge, and they had to deposit into the ballot box. That didn't happen, but I won't argue about it because it is in the past. But moving forward, if you see something out of the ordinary like that, you can challenge the election too, because you will know if it's true or false. Now, not only am I saying that, not only did the U.S. Department of Labor say that, it's also in our bylaws, and I'll say, okay, so Section 21 of the bylaws, letter H, the judge shall have charge of the ballots and shall hand to each qualified voter who enters the polling place one ballot with the judge's initials placed on the back of the ballot in ink, not pen. Again, when they say pencil, in ink. After the voter marks his ballot in ink, he or she shall hand it back to the judge. The judge shall deposit in the ballot box, and at no time shall the voter be allowed to deposit a ballot in the box, him or herself, nor shall ballot box be opened until the box is delivered back to the local union office for counting. Now, that's in our bylaws, but the U.S. Department of Labor also confirmed that. So you members that have been voting, you know what happened, or you know what didn't happen. But now we know what should happen. So if the president, or which he shouldn't be saying nothing, the first vice president or the second vice president, they shouldn't be saying their personal opinions, because here's the rules. The financial recording secretary should be addressing this, but we all know it's a dictatorship here at 241, and no one stands up for what's right. But hopefully, in 2025, we'll have a free and fair election without all this nonsense, so members don't have to file challenges. But since I'm making you guys aware that I'm sure if they do it, we'll have plenty more challenges. So that's great. Another thing that I kind of talked about was the president and the vice president being on the property over by the judge's booth, talking to the workers, claiming he's buying them lunch, or she's buying them lunch. That's a no-no. They're not above the law. They should not be in the voting area. They should not be by the ballot box. They should not have a say. This is a real election. It is not a game. They should actually not be 100% within the voting area. But we all know that happened. So this is another reason why I challenged the election. Another reason why I challenged the election is because the election commissioners have no integrity or character. They don't do the right thing. They go by the orders of the president, which they should not be doing. They should be doing their job. They should be reporting the president and all that. But during the year, if you notice, if you don't know who the election commissioners are, try to find out. Because you will notice they're always off work a lot of time. They get whatever they want. While we drive our buses, they're off work doing whatever they need to do to please the president and not this membership. So they are not for us. So when this year comes, make sure we hold the executive board accountable for picking the judges. Make sure that the judges have accountability and integrity, because they don't. They don't have anything. They are all sellouts, because the only and you can look at this. Annetta Perkins, and yes, I'm naming names. Annetta Perkins, I believe, is the head election judge. She is the only person who's supposed to have keys to those boxes, and she stated that to the U.S. Department of Labor. And we have videos of other judges opening and closing boxes. So, with that being said, now we know. Once the boxes come to the ballot box, only one person is supposed to open them, and then lock them up. They shouldn't be opened again until they make it to the union office or wherever they count the things at. So those are the reasons why I challenged the election. It wasn't for my personal feelings. It wasn't because I was bitter because I lost, because I'm not bitter because I lost. I actually congratulated every candidate who won, but I still do my part as a member and do my due diligence. So that's what we have with those postings on the union board. I hope you guys are encouraged to pay attention to our administration, because our current administration, they don't have character or integrity neither. They will campaign off of that, and they're actually starting a campaign now trying to discredit any member from running against their administration. They are trying to change the rules. They are doing everything. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. But I'm going to make sure I open you all eyes to see what they can and cannot do. Maybe they won't do it. I doubt it, because they think they're above the law and everybody, and they would try to do it. But these are those postings on the board with my name and another young man's name, and I guess he'll do his own. He'll talk to you guys on his own. I won't speak on his behalf, but you know, I consider myself a woman of great character and integrity, and I truly want the best for 241. And I try to stand up for us as best as I can with little support. I wish we had more support to come down and listen to the things they do. You know, the union always say that I accuse them of stealing and cheating. I do, because they do. And that's what's going to take me to our next topic. So our next topic is, I'm going to be real brief on it because it still needs a little work to go to it, because at the last union meeting, our president informed us that our union is no longer a private entity. It is now a public entity. Now, this is huge, and maybe you all may think like, oh, what's the difference? We don't care. We don't care if it's public or private. Of course, they're not doing what they're supposed to, so maybe we should care. But the reason you should care is because the union always accused me of saying they're stealing money, they're not doing right. Well, this shows. When you see an officer or an executive board member or even a steward, ask them one question and hopefully you can get an honest response. Why was it so important to go behind the membership's back to change from a private entity to a public entity? Now, I'm going to give you the answer, but I doubt they agree. You know, ever since last year, when I started really engaging in the union, really being an active member, I call them out as stealing our money all the time. Well, this was a power grab for them. Changing our local from a private to a public entity, this way they don't have to file an LM2. Oh, an LM2 let us members keep account of the money, what they were doing with it. But now, since we're not a private entity, they don't have to file an LM2. So, hey, money grab for this administration, because now we can't keep up with how they're spending the money, but their financial reports now. Hey, if you ever want to make a joke, you can come to the union meeting every first Tuesday of the month. I can tell you, show you how they stealing in their financial reports. It speaks for itself. But I'm the only one looking. The executive board, the stewards, the officers, nobody don't look at that financial report. The first thing they do, and I'll call it out, Orlando Robinson, Antoine Trimble, Dario, I don't even know his last name, but all of them, that first thing they do, the financial recorder secretary can't even finish. The president can't even get up to say anything. Motion to accept. They haven't even read it. I've never seen them question the financial report. That is their job. They're supposed to hold the officers accountable. No. As long as the officers keep them off work, they're not driving their buses, they're happy. They will sell you out, and they have been for so long. But if you ever want to know what's going on with the money, come down to the union meeting for every first Tuesday of the month. I'll ask questions about this financial report. You will never get a straight answer. They could never answer to why such and such and such as that. It speaks for themselves. If they don't know, who knows where the money going? That's all I'll say about that. It all speaks for itself. So that's that about those things. And more importantly, what I really need to touch base on is now, I want to show you how they want to do another power grab. They have proposed some ByLaw changes. And it is mind-blowing to me about these ByLaw changes. How do one administration want to change bylaws when they don't currently abide by the bylaws we have? That's most important. Not only that is, they want to pull wool over our heads and make us think they're doing the right thing. The president himself called for this bylaw change, and it is illegal. Illegal. He didn't even notify the members. He called himself, gonna have this, bring it up in this meeting, and say, "Oh, we're gonna have the first reading. Oh, we're gonna do this." But he does all this, and that is not even the correct way we change a bylaw. So guess what? I will be fighting that. If I have to file a complaint about it, I will. Because we are going to hope, before we change any bylaws, or let me say this, before we attempt to change any bylaws, we should be going around abiding by the current bylaws we have. But let's talk about the bylaws they want to change. And they're kind of important to me. One that really stands out to me is they're running for re-election already. It is November of 2024. The election is not to 2025. But because they want to try to stop, not people like me, because I attend the meetings. So I never have an issue of running for office. If I wanted to, maybe I should. What you guys think? Just kidding. Running for office or doing anything because I attend the meetings. Unlike most of you guys, I attend mostly all of the meetings. I'm very well informed. And most people will say, well, I can't get off or this and that. Well, I can't either, but somehow, some way, I make it there. And I'm the only member in there questioning them, holding them accountable for our union and the things they're doing. There was some more people, but they got them fired. If you don't fall in line, they'll get you fired. So I can understand why some of y'all don't want to challenge them. But we got to do better. We got to do better as a membership because we cannot continue to allow them to pull wool over our heads. The economy is not good. Some have hope in President Trump. Hey, I don't know what's going to be the answer, but I know that in my paycheck, they take out more deductions out of my check than I bring home. Healthcare insurance just went up. They say a lot of things. The president always tout. If you look at their reports, I promise you, it has to be crazy. These reports every month say the same thing over and over and over again. This is October report. You can go back from January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. They all say the exact same thing. There's never nothing new. There's nothing different. It's always the same thing. And some of these reports from these officers, it's like kindergartners wrote them. Oh my God, it does not even talk about the business that beg you. Stay off the cell phone. It's a good thing. They should say stay off the cell phone. But where's the business of the local? Where's the business of the local? So let's go back. I don't want to get off the subject of these bylaw changes though, because the one that they want to change is to change the number of meetings you need to have to run for office. Well, it's funny. Why would they want to do that? Because most of you guys don't come to meetings. So why would they care? Because it benefits them. Now, if they change the bylaw, now when you decide you want to run and you want to decide you want to come to the meeting, oh, no, you can't do it. But they will take off all their executive boards and all their stewards and all their friends to stack the deck at a meeting so that they can run, so they can put who they want in office. We got to stop that. If you feel like you're a good fit, they have all these steward classes about to start coming up. But if they don't like you, believe me, you won't be in the steward class, you won't be in no class. They ain't going to be talking about nothing anyway. They're probably going to talk about me, the Justice Coalition. Nothing about learning because they don't even know their jobs as stewards. They're not going by the current bylaws in place that stewards should be doing. So I wonder how they're going to teach a class. Are they going to pay somebody to come in? Are they going to get a retiree to come in? What are they going to do? I'm interested to know. So if anybody take up that class, reach out to me and tell me what you learned. Because I bet you I could teach you better of being a steward than they taught you in that class, in those 3 classes that they're going to have. But they want to have a requirement. I say no. I say come down to the union hall whenever they vote on it, and I'm going to kind of force their hand to put a date out to let the members know when they're going to be voting on it, because that's something they don't do. But why should we change it? Why should we benefit them? We shouldn't. It seems like we don't need that bylaw change since we're not going by the current bylaws that we have in place. To add insult to injury, they also want to add they also want to add a part-time assistant for the financial recording secretary treasurer. Now, this is my pet peeve about this. We have a current financial recording secretary who ran, that he was knowledgeable, and I'm not just talking about him, I'm talking to integrity when he speaks. We had the president standing for him, we had officers standing in for him, we had all these people standing in for him because he was the person for the job. Well, I congratulated him when he won. But guess what? He doesn't even go by the current bylaws. And if he did, he in my opinion, he does not need a financial assistant. What he needs to do is do his job as stated as the current bylaws we have. And that's the problem why this local is in the situation they are, and that's why they want to change it. First, he's the man for the job, but he's not doing the job. And blame it on the president, because the president is the person who's supposed to hold everyone accountable. But also blame it on the executive board. But again, we can't blame it on them, because as long as the president is keeping them off, they don't care. But I care, and I'm here to tell you, if everybody was doing their job and setting the current bylaws we have, this financial recording secretary would not need assistance. A couple of things about the financial recording secretary. You should never see the financial recording secretary in a hearing for you, comes to the garage to represent you. That is not the duty of the financial recording secretary. And right now, Mr. Gatewood is always on the property. He's always with the second vice, the second vice, Michelle Townsend, helping her out do her job. That is not his job, and that's why this local is being run into the ground, and the president not holding him accountable. The financial recording secretary job is to see the day-to-day operations of the local. If Mr. Gatewood is out on the property every Tuesday and Thursday or anything, talking about he's saving your job, that's why the local is being ran like it is. If he was in the office running day-to-day business, demanding the president to hire office staff to help him, because currently we don't have office staff in the office to make the office run perfect. We currently have a retiree running the front desk, which is illegal because the president hasn't gave us any information, how much she's getting paid, how long she's going to be there. Why won't they just hire office staff? Now, I'm not sure. We had a lady working in the office. Her name was Tanisha. Now, I'm not sure if she's working it from home. I'm not sure if she's working, but that's a problem. Why they want to get a part-time assistant financial recording secretary treasurer. We don't need that. And in the meeting, the president said, oh, well, and I thought this was a slap in the face. You all tell me what you think. The president stated, oh, well, we're not going to have to pay them. CTA is going to pay them because they're just going to get paid for lost time. Such a slap in the face to be handling 241 business. And the first thing the president touts is something about CTA. So that's the problem. CTA is 2-and-I business. Side deal here, he great with that. This is ridiculous. I'm telling you, it's disgusting. It disgusts me, their relationship with CTA. But that's another story. So I would encourage you all to come down whenever we're taking this vote for these bylaws. Vote it down, because they should be doing the jobs that the current bylaws say, and let's see how the union run that way. Now then, if he's in there doing his job and then he needs some help, let's rethink it. But you know, if these bylaws go to the international, they change them, they're not going to change them back. They're not going to keep playing games with us. This is supposed to be a business. So we need to run it like a business. And also, another reason why the local doesn't run well, the leadership. President Hill is not a good leader. Let me tell you why. We have so many open executive board spots, steward spot, and he had no and has no intention on filling them because he wants control. As long as he can say, oh, I'm going to run over there, I'm going to do hearings this day, first vice president going to do it that day, or the second vice going to do it that way, everybody's cool. You all should demand better. If you don't have an executive board member or steward at your job, if all those positions not filled, how can they even do negotiations for a contract? They can't. They're too busy running around to the property. They can't handle the business in hand because they're doing everybody else's job. But if the president was a good leader, he will fill those spots, have a special election, and fill those spots. Oh, no. He don't do that. That's why the local is being ran like it's ran. No, we don't have a leader. We need somebody to lead us. You know, President Hill is a good talker, but handling business, he is not. Definitely, everything he says, first thing he says, CTA this, CTA that. You should hear in the meeting when they tell us what CTA said. CTA said, I remember one meeting, the third vice, the ABA vice president, he kept saying, CTA said. I raised my hand and said, well, what did you say? And to me, he said exactly to me what he said to them. Nothing. He looked me in my face and said, So that tells me who we have representing for us. I'm not afraid to call a spade a spade. These people are ridiculous. They think we are a joke, and now they're setting up to run again. What are they running on? What have they done for us but sell us out? Why should we change these bylaws? I mean, to me, it's not one bylaw in here I could even consider. I thought long and hard about this joining the Eastern Can-Am Conference Board, but no, I don't think we should do that either, because we can't handle the conferences we already in, because we don't know what we're doing. I think that all these should be voted down, and I encourage you guys to join me in voting these down. I'm not going to keep you long, but I just wanted to tell you about the things that they put on that board. I'm sure my story is different from their story. I'm sure they had their executive boards on the property saying, oh, look what Nicole did. Look what she did. She costing us more money. She costing us more money. Well, if the current administration did what the current bylaw said, I promise you I wouldn't cost the local a dime. But until we get some integrity and character and respect for the members, sorry guys, I'm going to challenge them on everything that they're not doing right according to these bylaws. So it's just Sister Williams coming in again, trying to bring light with proof. The proof is on the board. If anybody wants to discount what I said, one of the officers, hey, they got it on the board. The U.S. Department of Labor about the election, these current bylaws. You can look at, and if you're worried about executive boards of steward and representation and being the way CTA see us, you know if you have a steward at your garage. You know if you have an executive board member at your garage. Hey, I'll tell you about the one at my garage. I'll call it out. We have an executive board member, and this is something we got to stop doing. We have an executive board member at our garage who is currently off. When she ran for the spot, she was in the sick book. And the majority of the time she's been elected executive board member, she's in the sick book. Poor representation. So please, guys, take heed to what I'm saying about these elections and these bylaws, and at least vote. And hey, if you choose to vote for them, but if you keep voting for them and these bylaws and these, because they're your friends, or maybe they saved your job once or twice, I guarantee if they saved your job, it wasn't by the rules of CTA, it wasn't by the bylaws, it wasn't because of the collective bargaining agreement. I can guarantee you it was a sad deal that they made, because they do not even know how to represent us properly with the bylaws, the working wage agreement, which is the collective bargaining agreement, if we don't know that. If only they stood for something. They don't stand for anything. And you guys keep electing them, we're going to be in the same boat. We're never going to be able to grow. We're never going to be able to really take care of our families, because as you can see in the last contract, it was historical. It was a historical win for CTA, and it was a historical win for the officers, because the members, we look good on paper, but when we bring our checks home, we don't bring home anything. So with that being said, I'm just going to sign off. I hope you guys take heed to this video. If you see me, ask me whatever kind of questions you want. I'll show you anything I said in black and white. And if Keith want to debate anything I said, or one of the officers want to debate anything I said, I can talk to them too about it. So thanks again, 241. Have a great night.